So, what is wrong with postmodernism anyway? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. My name is Ross Burns. This is the Burns Eye View, where we engage the Western culture with the biblical worldview. Here we go. In part one, we examined what is postmodernism, what are the tenets of postmodernism, what are the historical foundations, where it come from, and you should definitely check that out before seeing this video. It'll be up there in the link above and in the link below in the description. So please check that out to understand the content of this video. But we're going to talk about what's wrong with postmodernism. Just a quick summary. If you were to summarize what postmodernism is in one sentence, it would pretty much be a departure of a culture from the tenets of modernism and leading to a belief in no absolute truth, that absolute truth does not exist, and that reason, logic, theology can't get you to absolute truth. It's unattainable. It's a really long sentence, but that was basically it. So, what's wrong with that? Well, the first thing that is wrong with that is it defeats itself. What do I mean by that? So basically, what I mean by that is imagine you were to have a sentence. It would go something like this: all general statements are false. All general statements are invalid. Okay, so that's your statement. So if you were to apply that to all kinds of general statements, so all fish is gross or all meat is delicious, you the first statement we had would say, well, those are not true. Now let's apply that statement, all general statements are false, to one more statement. How about all general statements are false? Is that a general statement? Well, yes. Is it false? Well, if it is false, then you see the problem we've created here, right? So postmodernism effectively renders all worldviews not true, right? All worldviews in the postmodern thinking cannot be true, right? All interpretations of all events are equally valid. Is postmodernism a worldview? Well, yes, of course. Is postmodernism an interpretation of facts, of events, right? Of cultures, of history? Well, of course, postmodernism is an interpretation of things, right? It is a worldview. Is it therefore no more true than any other? So that's probably the biggest problem with postmodernism is if postmodernism critiques itself, it renders itself invalid, just like the statement, all general statements are false. So that really is the biggest problem with postmodernism. It uh, it's a great tool to be used against everything except for itself. It defeats itself as a worldview, and it's logically incoherent. And one last thing I would say about postmodernism is in its critique of language, that there are no objective meanings to words, that there is no truth that can be communicated even through language. I would have to ask how someone in postmodernism might communicate that message, right? I mean, is it just me, or do you see the irony in volumes and volumes of books, right? Library shelves full of critiques of scholars of the notion of language, that words can carry meaning at all. Right? Do you see any irony in the volumes of scholarship critiquing the usage of words to communicate truth? I mean, you'd have to ask yourself: is their use of words just some kind of patriarchal, power grab? Right? Should we not trust them because they're using language and words and logic and reason? It's just another aspect of postmodernism that collapses on itself. Its own critique of language makes it unable to critique language. The one other thing I'll say about why postmodernism is bad is because it's antithetical to a Christian worldview. In the Christian worldview, God reveals to us what is true, right? We can know what is ultimately true because we believe in a God of revelation, a God of ultimate knowledge and truth. He's the source of logic and uniformity in nature, mathematics, beauty, and morality. And we know those things because God has revealed it to us. That's why we can know things, because of revelation. So in the next video, I'm actually going to be saying something maybe a little bit more annoying to my non-Christian friends. I'm going to be making the argument that if you're not a Christian, or maybe more broadly, if you're not a theist, if you're not a monotheist, you should be a postmodernist, right? So, in other words, you should not have any access to, or you should have a worldview that does not permit you access to absolute truth of any kind through logic, science, reason, or theology if you're not a monotheist. I'm going to be making that argument in the next video, so please check that out. So thanks so much for watching. Please, if you like the video, give it a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It helps me out, helps me get the content to more people and get past some of those YouTube algorithms. So please support if you enjoy the content, if you think it's good and educational and worthwhile. Until next time, thanks so much for watching. Please comment down below your thoughts.